Who's good, potato? Spin the leak here, and I just watched a movie. A really shit movie. It's called The Sand. I wouldn't even call this a B movie. I'd call it a fucking C movie. Definitely got a C minus in my book, but it's still better than Cabin Fever, the remake that they did. And you'll notice in the background things are a little bit more organized, and I'm actually in the chair. Well, I went ahead and cleaned up in here recently, so yeah, everything's all nice, organized. Got some shelves. Nothing too extreme. There's my Pringles and my old lamp. Got my cell phone sitting on some gloves. Nothing special going on there, but hey, I managed to tidy this fucker up. You didn't see exactly how bad it was beforehand, but trust me, it needed it. So, The Sand, where do I begin? It's fucking awful. But let me try to pique your interest about it. Essentially, a group of friends is partying for spring break at some undisclosed beach. They lock their cell phones in the trunk of a car so that they don't end up on the internet if they do something stupid. You know, in a horror movie scenario, not a good idea. Real life scenario, you might want to think about this because plenty of dumb shit ends up on the internet from parties like that because people like too much to drink, there were drugs, whatever. Uh, anyway, everyone ends up getting completely wasted, passing out, waking up in the morning. Only a couple of people actually do wake up in the morning, though. The beach is completely empty, and the people that wake up happen to be laying on tables, or in a car, or in a lifeguard post, one's even stuck in a fucking trash can. And the first thing they realize is something is not right when one of their friends steps off a table and immediately starts getting devoured by the sand. One asshole sees the blood and the screaming and still jumps out of a vehicle and gets eaten by the fucking sand. From there on, it's a lackluster game of the floor is lava. You touch the sand, these weird little worm things come out, start gripping into your skin and tearing you apart. The acting and the writing in this movie are fucking atrocious. Characters will go from sad to happy. They're driven by plot points that no person in their right mind would fucking follow. There's a couple in the movie that broke up for some undisclosed reason. Maybe there was another girl involved. I think she ended up stealing this girl's boyfriend, something stupid like that. And they ended up getting separated at this party, and she slept with someone, he slept with someone, big fucking whoop. They're all trying to survive, but she's still hung up on him. He's still hung up on her. The bitch in the middle still hung up on him, and he's bouncing in between them, and he's a real douche. Eventually, the group finds out that they can move across the sand by laying down items and stepping over them. Hence the floor is lava aspect of it. They initially start out with a couple of surfboards, but those end up getting shifted by the worms in the sand. They still try to maneuver across that shit, and really doesn't turn out too well for them most of the time. I gotta say, with a lot of these plot points and the way that people act, I'll put it this way: the best actor was this big black dude. He was stuck in a trash can, complaining the entire movie. That was his role. He was in the trash can. He didn't move. He didn't run. He stood there complaining with a dick drawn on his face. Best actor in the entire fucking film. But no, there were sequences where people would go from extremely traumatized to all of a sudden serious. That, like, literally, tears would immediately dry up and this has to get done. This has to get done. Buckle down, motherfucker. I will say this. There was a really big X factor in the film, which was the creature. That was the interesting point. You were wondering what the fuck it was, and at the end of the film, they kind of show you a little glimpse of what it was supposed to be, and they make references to it early on. Uh, but that's pretty much it. That and the gore, and I gotta say, this wasn't much of a horror movie. It struck me as more of a comedy, but it kept me far more entertained than the reboot of Cabin Fever. So this is going to score higher, but not by much. It's getting 1.5 potatoes. Not even going to talk about spoilers. Not really worth it. If you want to watch it, pretty sure there's a free version on YouTube, something like a bunch of videos meshed together that were essentially bootleg or some shit like that. You'll probably find that. I would not recommend buying this unless you're going to put it on a shelf next to Thanksgiving. Like, comment, subscribe. Keep on, keep it on. I'll see you in the next one.